By April, she's gotten on my nerves. And I'm like, girl, get up. You've rolled over so many times. It's time for you to get out of the bed. I like to call that version of myself Eve. It's all right, guys. Eve feeds her children cereal for dinner, not for breakfast, for dinner. Oh yeah, she's really a shaky individual, that Eve that's down on the inside of me. She's not pleasant when she goes to the gym, when she sees the girl who's back there running and her ponytail's all swinging, and she's having a full-on conversation while I can barely get past 3 on the treadmill. Eve down in me rolls her eyes at her. She's really sketchy. God is still working on me, and he's working on me in such a way that he has even made me become more comfortable with this idea of Eve. I don't know if you are like me, but Eve and I, we've had a struggled, a strained relationship. I love Ruth, I love Esther, I love Mary, but Eve and I, we struggled for a long time. Because Eve just had one job. We were all vegan. I'm sure we had 6 packs. And God just told Eve to do one thing. And Eve failed miserably. And for a long time, we've struggled, she and I. And God has really convicted me about Eve, because he told me that they don't allow pettiness in heaven, which was like a shock for me, because I just wanted to pull Eve to the side right over by Gold Avenue and be like, girl, was the fruit even that good? Like, do you know we've been struggling in childbirth? All we want is a husband down here on earth, because you couldn't keep your lips off of one little old fruit. Was it juicy, girl? Was it ripe? Did you enjoy it? Because the rest of us have been struggling. And God told me that I can't be petty in heaven. So I've been getting my life together. I've been working on my attitude. And he was like, Sarah, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, here's the thing. This is why you can't be upset with Eve, because you're not much better than she is. It was rude. Yeah. So I thought, wow, that's quite interesting that you would say that. And he goes, how many times have you known better but didn't do better? I thought, well, that's different. That's different. I guess I have to forgive her. Because when I look back over my own life, I see all of these times where I knew better, but I didn't do better. And all of this time, I've been accusing Eve as if I live on some type of high horse that allows me to look down on others who should have made a different choice, not realizing that I myself have found myself in positions where I knew better. I knew I should have left the relationship alone. I knew I shouldn't have spent the money, but I did it anyway, and I had to pay the consequences. If you think about it, when Eve came into the world, she had this innocence about her. She had never known pain. Everything was set up in such a way that she only could flourish. And the moment that she ate from that fruit, it was like a part of her died. So I guess God wasn't lying when he said, if you eat from the fruit that you will surely die, because there was a part of her that she could never access again because she ate from the fruit. I call that casket that follows us into our relationships, into our worlds, into our societies and cultures. We're all carrying a casket. We're carrying this moment that forever shifted how we saw the world. We're carrying this moment that forever changed our ability to be innocent and carefree, because pain met us, and when pain met us, it changed us. It would be one thing to just have a casket, but Eve has to deal with the issue of carrying a casket and a curse. Yeah, that part of her died. And it wasn't enough for it to be dead, but now she's dealing with the curse attached to the casket. Let me make it plain for you, Free Chapel. It's like you end up in a bad relationship, and the bad relationship changes the way you see every other man after that relationship. The relationship was the casket, but your shift in perspective was the curse. The abandonment that we suffer as children that makes it difficult for us to be vulnerable to other people. The abandonment was the casket, but the curse was that we couldn't let anyone else in. Yeah, in a room this size, there's probably thousands of caskets and curses attached to our lives. And so as I have been diving into the story of Eve, I recognize that in many capacities, each of us have an Eve that is attached to our name. I love it because when God gives the curse to Eve and to the serpent, he tells the serpent that he's going to put enmity between the woman and him. And that ultimately he's going to slither around on his belly and he's going to eat dust and he's going to be cursed more than all of the beasts. But he tells him your greatest issue is not going to be that you're on your belly. Your greatest struggle is that there's going to be enmity between you and the woman. How do I know that that was going to be his greatest struggle? Because the word continues in Genesis 3:15, and it says that she is going to have her heel bruised by the serpent, but ultimately her heel, her seed, would crush his head. That's powerful. That gives hope in the middle of caskets and curses that there's a cross. Yeah, even though she's probably in the most broken moment in her life, the most shame-filled moment in her life, in the middle of those cracks, in the middle of that pain, there was this promise that God inserts that when it's all said and done, it may look like the enemy won this moment, but when everything is said and done, I'm going to give the woman a seed. And when she produces that seed, it's going to crush the head of the serpent. So never sleep on a woman who has a casket and a curse, because she also has a seed attached to her name. And the enemy's greatest threat is going to be the woman, a woman who figures out that the heel couldn't keep her from walking into the next dimension of her destiny. The enemy's greatest threat is going to be the fact that bruised heels still crush serpent's head. And that has been the foundation of me seeing women in Eve differently.